Hey everyone, Don and Ash here,
Hello.
back for another reaction video. This time we're going to be reacting to a video that's not a voice line, it's not special interactions, it's one that's actually, so many of you have been asking for us to react to these videos for so long now, so we're finally getting to it, and that's none other than one of Necrit's videos. Finally, we're going to be reacting to the World of Riots MMO is already done, because as you know, every other video I'm always saying everything about, I wish this was in the MMO, I wish I could play the MMO, so...
MMO.
Yeah, so here I am. Finally, we're getting into it. Can't wait. This video starts out with a scene from original World of Warcraft, which just hits, hits me way back.
Yeah,
So
like hits home immediately.
yeah, so I can't wait to check that out. But without further ado, let's hop in. Like I don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Other than learning, about the regions and zones as far as the world of Runeterra.
Yes.
It's gonna be sick.
Yeah, I just feel like this is so long overdue, and I'm like internally screaming because I'm so excited to finally be watching this.
Alright, well, let's get into it.
In the past, MMOs were regarded as the godfathers of games. They were the
Yes.
peak of what developers could accomplish. Even though, looking back, that's a fairly subjective thing to say.
That's a sick
Everyone
game.
knew MMOs had the power to create cult following, but also everyone knew making MMOs was hard. On
RuneScape.
average, an MMO has to spend at least 6 years in the baking before it can get anywhere near being good. But that didn't stop companies from jumping onto the bandwagon anyway. Soon we could see dozens of new MMOs, all releasing in 2008. All being called the WoW killers. Spoiler alert, none of them did that. And unfortunately, we can feel the ripple effects even now. It got to a point where every time a new MMO is announced, we all think the same thing. Oh. Anyway, when you're working on an MMO, you have to respect 3 pillars. Gameplay is king, social interactions matter, and the world setting is important. When
Especially the
Riot
third one.
announced their MMO, it became clear that 2 of the pillars are being respected, and the third one is already done. When it comes to the gameplay, it is currently in the hands of Ghostcrawler, someone who's been working on WoW during its best times, and someone who got a reputation for hating boomkins and loving mages. When it comes to the social interactions, it is a dance between the developers and the players. A dev can guide players towards social interactions, or they can annihilate them, and after that, the players usually find their own fun inside the...
God, I hate that queue system. It took away all the social interaction from like I don't care how much I don't care how the devs feel about it. I want my spam filled with LFG. Why? Because it's actually people looking for people instead of just a barren chat with no interaction, and you just sit there and you log in game and you sit there picking your nose while you wait 5 minutes to queue something, and then your group yells, and then your group yells at you and they disband in the first 2 minutes. Game sucks. Anyways.
MMO. From that point on, the devs should do everything in their power to support the players having fun in their own way.
Oh yeah.
Finally, when it comes to the world of an MMO, in Riot's case, it's done. And it's been finished for quite a few years now. In fact, the World of Riot's MMO is in such a good state, they already have the continents, the zones, the cultures and the races. And to a lesser degree, every zone already has its own storyline. Now, of course, unless you follow the lore of League of Legends, you wouldn't know about this. And that's why I decided to make this video. I want to show you all the zones we are going to see in the MMO and what sorts of quests we are going to do there. So, for the purpose of this video, I will assume you have no idea what League of Legends is about. You have no idea what the universe is about, but you like MMOs, your hairline is receding, and you have a crippling fear of Nintendo 64 controllers.
I'm good, right?
I think you're good. I was like...
Yeah, I'm not there yet, right? Oh my goodness. No, but I absolutely love MMOs, yeah. And you know what? I like that little 3D zoom out, I guess we got, which enables you to place zones where they are in the region. So it's cool that we saw Zaun.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was Zaun, right? Because I'm like, there was the river, and then it was just like, it was like a big dam, and then it went way down into Zaun.
That's right, yeah.
I'm like, it's hard to, like I've said before, it's hard to visualize that unless you see it, I guess, there.
Yeah, like that, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
To which I might add, why do you think I'm wearing hats? But now, without further ado, let's have a look at all the zones in Riot's MMO.
Let's go, baby!
This is Runeterra, the world of League of Legends.
Oh wow,
Right
Ionia's by
now,
itself.
the world is separated into 10 main regions. But these 10 regions don't cover all the land on the map, so there are some mini-zones in between them.
Alright, hold on. First of all, this is cool. I don't know where he got... Oh, this has got to be from the website or something. Anyways, I didn't know Ionia was by itself.
Yeah, just an island. Well, lots of islands, but over there.
Yeah, no, it's big. So I'm just like, okay, so Noxus invaded Ionia, and Noxus it doesn't really like Demacia. The region, like the outlines, Noxus has a lot more ground than Demacia does.
Yes.
That was interesting to see. Freljord's just kind of chilling by themselves up there. Yeah, and
they fight and they're like, can you guys not?
it's funny that Piltover and Zaun is connected by such a little strip of land, and I guess
Yes.
that's where the water's trying to get through. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And Shurima.
Is
That's
obviously
pretty
big.
Yeah.
Yeah, Targon's just chilling on the left. Ixtal, I think is how they said it, Ixtal or something like that.
Yes.
Over on the right. Yeah, no, it's just cool to see all of them. And then Bilgewater is obviously surrounded by water.
I love to be able to like cycle through the champions in my head right now and be like, oh, that's where Nico's from. Oh, that's where Lux is from.
Yeah.
And we kind of like know characters already where they are. Now we can place them.
Some of them at least, yeah.
Yeah.
And the lore already revealed that there is gonna be another continent further to the east. That definitely sounds like a future expansion to me. In fact, it would be foolish to release all of these regions at launch. You can easily turn half of these into separate expansions. And because a lot of people already know and love these regions, the hype behind these expansions would be big. With that said, I know a lot of you would like to play as Shurimans or Ionians. And now
yeah.
you may be cursing me for suggesting that these would be expansions. But the lore
yeah.
can justify giving you these nations as playable races without having their regions. I'll show you how Riot can pull this off in a bit. First, let's talk about the regions Riot's MMO has to start with. The Northern Continent. This entire continent is called Valoran. Not Valorant, Valoran. And this is where the absolute core of this world is. The two main regions here are Demacia and Noxus. They are the two big rivals equivalent to the Horde and the Alliance. While I would like to say that Demacia is your classic normie human region,
How dare you compare me to Noxus?
it's not really true. Runeterra doesn't really have a normal place. There is something cool happening in every region. And Demacia has racism. Okay, maybe not racism, because Demacia doesn't mind Yordles or Minotaurs, but they really hate mages.
Mages.
That's because in the past, their rivals almost annihilated half of the world using magic. And so, Demacia was built inside a magic-absorbing forest. Therefore, Demacia is a really cool place where you can hide from magic. When it comes to the visuals of the zone, you can see a lot of lush fields, it is surrounded by mountains, but the iconic part of Demacia are the buildings. They are made of petricite, which is a combination of stone and the magic-absorbing wood. Because these ancient magic-absorbing trees were grey, all the buildings have a marble-like appearance. And yes, given what material they are using, all the buildings in Demacia also absorb magic.
Yes.
So should a mage visit this region, let's just say it's gonna be a painful experience. On top of this, let's not forget that Demacians can weaponize petricite. They can turn it into petricite steel, which gives you your classic anti-magic weapons, and you can sculpt petricite constructs which wake up after absorbing magic.
Yo!
Simply said, these guys just really don't like magic. The irony is, they've been absorbing it for years now. And this is where the story would kick in. You see, the Demacians are so afraid of magic, they founded the Mage Seeker Order. This is an order of people who hunt mages, they throw them into prison, and they torture them until their body gives up on magic. So yes, being a mage is a crime in Demacia. The thing is, people still get naturally born with magical abilities. You can't stop it from happening. So not only are there mages hiding in the royal court, right now there is a mage civil war happening in Demacia, where mages and people who don't hate mages rise up to fight for moral rights. So should we do some quests in this zone? This is gonna be the core story. Mages trying to overthrow racist leadership following old laws. So the main enemy NPCs might be mages and witches. But I know what you're thinking now, and don't worry. There will be plenty of boars to kill here too. Or at least there are loads of wolves here, as well as stags. And we can't forget the iconic Demacian raptors. But further to the south, we might find some crag beasts, tiny woolly elephants, and yes, of course in the Argent Mountains there are also dragons. Loads and loads of dragons. But that's about it for Demacia. Fun fact, the capital city of Demacia is called the Great City of Demacia. Sounds dumb, but Runeterra was not the first one to come up with this. But thankfully the other regions are a bit more creative with their names. So now, let's move away from the normie region and let's have a look at the badass region.
How dare you hate on WoW?
If you're planning on playing a warrior with oversized weapons and overcompensating lush hair, this is the region for you. This place actually has a long and badass history, but we really don't have the time to explain it now. So just know that originally it was built by the most badass warrior in the history of Runeterra. This motherfucker literally died on a mountain of corpses. And after he died, he was too angry to stay dead, so he just became the god of the underworld. When this guy lived, he built the Immortal Bastion, which is to this day the largest structure on the entirety of Runeterra. And currently he is banished underneath the Immortal Bastion, but only a few people know about it. So you know, that's a future raid boss. Anyway, the Immortal Bastion is the capital city of the Noxian Empire, with Noxus being one of the most brutal nations in Runeterra. It is brutal because the nation is surrounded by rocky earth. It is hard to grow plants here. So Noxians are forced into conquering surrounding land for resources to survive. That's why when you go to the map you can notice that the Noxian territory is all over the place. It's because these are all the places Noxus has already conquered. Although, when I say it like that, you may imagine Noxus brutally raiding everything. But that's not true. They like to absorb the surrounding nations into their empire. After all, it's just more human resources. Most of the time, they only remove the royalty and they let the leaderless people join their empire. And that's because Noxus values strength above all. And rulers tend to not be good fighters. This is what you can see in the After Victory cinematic. They kill the king because he was weak and let everyone else join them. Fun fact, conquering nations is so iconic for Noxus, they have their own saying.
Well, come on now. I'm like, weak, or it's because he was like obsessed with his own power versus giving the people power. I'm like, there was a bit of like self-centered, you know, kind of.
It comes down to the person.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I get what he's saying.
Kill them until they are family. So when it comes to the quests in Noxus, it is most likely going to be helping the Empire expand its territory. Although, this region has its own unique enemies too.
What if I don't want to?
Inside the Immortal Bastion, there is a cult known as the Black Rose. This cult is connected to the darkest of magics. So be ready to fight Hemomancers, witches, demons, and the Grey Legion. Which is...
Oh goody!
I was gonna say, if someone in the comments let us know, the Black Rose, I think, was the cult or whatever that resurrected dude here, Scion. Yeah.
An army of soldiers revived with blood magic to fight for the Empire again. And when it comes to collecting 10 bear asses, here we have the native Drakehounds and Basilisks. Now, while Noxus and Demacia are the main rivals here, both of them are also constantly repelling raids from the north. So now, let's have a look at the Freljord. Just like pretty much any region on Runeterra, Freljord has a long history. But for the purpose of this video, just know that the maddening old gods known as the Watchers of the Void, who want to devour the entire reality only because it keeps waking them up, once tried to breach into reality here. They almost succeeded because they tricked the Ice Witch Lysandra into helping them. Fortunately, she realized how wrong she was, and she managed to freeze half of the kingdom with the Watchers still beneath them.
Wow.
So these days, the Ice Witch is the only person holding back the end of reality by keeping the Watchers frozen.
Dang,
so
girl.
at some point in the future, you bet one of these woken up frozen Watchers is gonna be a raid boss.
Yeah,
Bro,
definitely.
that thing looks sick! Dude, I swear, if like your vision is like all cloudy up there and that thing comes out, or like you see like just like little glimpses of the eye in the back, dude,
I'll lose it.
it would be so just make you feel small in a region that's really big. I think that would be so sick.
Oh my goodness.
Like I want to feel, I want games to make you feel like you're not just this champion that gets to just destroy everything. I want zones to make you feel scared, make you feel small, make you feel
Yeah.
insignificant, in fact, and make you feel like you need a party to go in. Or
Yeah.
I want feelings like it's like, oh, I shouldn't be here. I need to go get some buddies to come back, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So cool.
This will definitely do it.
Yeah.
I also just realized right in the center of what I thought it was its forehead, there's actually a face there.
Yeah, there's a smaller face
like
there.
Okay.
Yeah, no, the eye beneath the ice though. I'm like, Lysandra.
That was massive.
That was scary. All right, let's go.
Woo.
Now, when it comes to the NPCs, this is where things get diverse. First of all, remember that the Freljord is brutally cruel. Everything is frozen, and survival is everything. So the first enemy here would be the wildlife. From Rhymefangs to Yetis to Druvasks to Elnuks to Mammoths to the worst of them all, Poros. Next we are going to fight the Freljordians themselves. There are 3 main tribes here. The Avarosans, who are quite peaceful, the Winter's Claw, who are quite brutal, and the Frostguard, Lysandra's followers who hold back the Watchers. And let me tell you, these guys have some badass armor. Among the notable tribes there are also the Ursine, which are shamans who worship the Volibear, the primal god of the wild who slowly turns his worshippers into twisted animalistic monstrosities. Speaking of which, yes, there are also the primal gods of Freljord. And finally, we need to talk about the Iceborn. When the Watchers tried to arrive here, they tainted the ice around them. This special ice is called the True Ice. And it is so dangerous, you literally die if you touch it. However, the Watchers also tainted some people, giving them the ability to touch the ice. It is still extremely painful for them to hold a true ice weapon, but at least they can survive it. These people are known as the Iceborn. But people were not the only things that were tainted. There are also ice trolls, some of whom are also Iceborn. To be honest, these guys were made to have their own dungeon. But there are also some animals that were twisted by the Watchers. And Lysandra is even twisting some beings herself to make them serve her. So overall, Freljord is gonna have a lot of cool warriors, shamans, and horrors.
Yeah.
Those mobs in this region look insane. They look so cool. I don't even know what to say. From like the wolves to the armor that the Frost Legion wears, or Lysandra's people.
Yeah.
Dude, what?
Yeah.
So sick. That's all I gotta say. So sick.
Yeah. No, that's so incredible.
So these would be the 3 regions on the main continent. But this place is actually so big it can easily make the base world of the game. Especially since there are a bunch of smaller regions in between them. There is Nokmerge full of witches, Argent Mountains with their dragons, Tokugol with void monsters, Dalamore Plains with him, and so much more. But
Just
from
click.
here, you can cleverly set up the expansions because of how well everything is interconnected. So now, let's have a look at the continent to the east called Ionia. Ionia has a very close connection to Noxus. You can only guess why. It's because Noxians once tried to conquer it all during an event simply called the Invasion of Ionia. This was a horrible war full of using children as soldiers because Noxians thought Ionians wouldn't fight back against children, and chemical weapons. Lots and lots of chemical weapons.
Ionians are like, nah, we'll slay those kids.
Speaking of which, remember Singed from Arcane? He's
Hey.
the guy who chemically devastated Ionia. Eventually, Noxus failed, but they kept their small controlled territories. So the first quest here could be simply boarding a ship, sailing over, and exploring the place for the Noxian Empire. Now, when it comes to Ionia itself, the place gets mystical. Everything here is alive and connected to the spirit of nature. And I mean everything, from the animals to the people to the buildings. Everything is alive. So if you anger Mother Nature, your house can twist and strangle you in your sleep. So you can
Wonderful.
only imagine how Mother Nature fought against Noxians. Usually a river came alive to drown them. That's why all the buildings here look like they were woven from wood. It's because
Sick.
they were. With nature magic, people let nature build their houses. It also means that sometimes your house can just walk away. For the NPCs here, obviously there is gonna be a lot of nature spirits. And a lot more of simply mystical animals. From giant flying tigers to spend
Bro, yeah, that is my thing.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, unreal. Let's just go back. Okay, I gotta find. I'm sorry, I clicked away. This thing. Oh my goodness! When we first saw this in that Breathe cinematic for Legends of Runeterra,
Good lord.
I have a snow leopard tattoo on my chest, and I'm just like, this thing just speaks to me. If Shurima or Freljord aren't like my top regions, like Ionia is just so up there. It's so sick.
Yeah, I think Ionia is the one I am definitely most excited about.
tigers to the never-ending story.
Oh, let's go back 1
A
second.
lot of nature spirits.
All
And
right.
a lot more of simply mystical animals. From giant flying tigers to the never-ending story. But be ready to also face local Ionians, blade masters, shadow cultists, murderers, and ninjas. Both good, bad, and the in-between.
The
But
Batman?
finally, there is also one more enemy that we could face. The furries. That's right, this race is known as the Vastaya. They are half humans and half magical animals. And yes, canonically, the species was born in exactly the way you are thinking. But to be fair, the Vastaya are quite cool and they are definitely gonna be a playable race. Just like Yordles, who also like Ionia a lot.
Somebody got a little bit too friendly with their cat. I'm like, all right. Soft pets, no more rough pets.
Lastly, after Noxians ravaged Mother Nature, demons started occupying all the places filled with misery and doubt. So that's gonna be a nice bonus enemy. So yes, the exploration of Ionia and the raid on the Shadow Order could be a really cool first expansion. But it's definitely not Riot's only option, because we can also go south to Piltover and Zaun. These are the ones people will know about, simply because this is where Arcane took place.
Yes.
Piltover and Zaun are two massive cities located one above the other. And they are so massive they could easily be turned into their own playable zones. They are both focusing on futuristic technology powered up by magic of the Hextech gemstones. Using this magic they can power up anything from guns to augmented limbs to vehicles. Visually, it is simply futuristic Victorian era. And unfortunately, there wouldn't be much of enemy variety. We would likely fight the rich houses of Piltover and their deadly assassins, with the occasional thief on the streets, corrupt wardens, and the occasional rogue steam golem. But things get a bit more interesting in the undercity known as Zaun. Zaun is the dirty underbelly covered in thick toxic smoke. Because the majority of people are poor here, they developed a cheaper alternative to Hextech called Chemtech. This artificial green stuff can power up cheaper limb replacements, as well as highly unstable weaponry. Zaun is also controlled by the Chem Barons, which are obviously gonna be the main enemy here. But on the side, we may also meet some chemical mutants, unstable constructs, as well as some mass murderers and people who hunt down mass murderers. And funnily enough, at the very bottom of Zaun itself, there are the hidden ruins of an ancient city.
Am I hearing that Urgot and Singed aren't friends? Because, yeah, I'm like, you guys have to let us know in the comments, but that's pretty cool. And like, if Urgot,
It's actually
well, what do you mean actually? Where are you gonna go with that?
I'm like, he's not a bad guy, but he's a bad guy. I just
No, I don't care about good or bad. It has nothing to do with that. It's just is Urgot, not friendly with Singed. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Full of traps. That is obviously gonna be a cool dungeon. So yes, there is not much more that I can add here. Piltover and Zaun were simply explored in Arcane. So if you like the series, you are gonna like this place. From here, we can travel further south to Shurima. Shurima used to be a massive empire that ruled the world. But after the emperor got betrayed by his best friend, the entire empire collapsed. This region is a massive desert with the occasional city near a river. In the center of the region there is the Sun Disk, a colossal piece of star metal that has the power to reflect celestial magic. The Shurimans use this celestial magic to turn their best soldiers into the Ascended. also known as the Golden God Warriors. However, these God Warriors wouldn't make a great enemy here. That's because after the Emperor had died, the Ascended started fighting for leadership. And slowly, after learning how to use blood magic to gain the edge, they morphed their own bodies and became the Darkin. Twisted, blood-frenzied monsters that would certainly make really cool raid bosses. Besides this ancient evil, Shurima is also full of its own animals, raiders, dune scavengers, and on top of all of that, void creatures.
Sick!
That's because to the south, there used to be a kingdom known as Ikathia that wanted to destroy the Shuriman Empire. So, they asked the Watchers for help.
Good luck!
You can imagine how that went. The Watchers sent through some void beasts that consumed Ikathia and polluted Shurima to this day. To fight back the void, Shurima does have a lot of hidden tombs around with hidden god warrior weapons. Not to mention that Shurima also has a circle of time mages who are trying to freeze the void in time. Now, as I mentioned near the beginning of the video, even if Shurima becomes an expansion, they can still easily make Shurimans a playable race because they are already connected to Noxus. As you can see, of course, Noxians already conquered part of Shurima, so some Shurimans are fighting for Noxus. Also, as a cool fact for those of you who liked Arcane, Hex Crystals are harvested in Shurima. That's why a Shuriman expansion would be a great follow-up to Piltover and Zaun. And again, that's why Riot can easily turn only the northern continent into the base world. Anyway, going west from Shurima, we arrive at Mount Targon. This place is incredibly unique. First of all, this mountain is not natural. It was literally pulled up from the ground by celestial gods. And that's because this place serves as a portal to the celestial realm, also known as Targon Prime. Now, because this mountain was pulled up, it also has some unique features. For example, you may find frozen lakes frozen horizontally on the mountain. And the very peak of the mountain is special too. Should a mortal reach the peak despite the brutal climate and the deadly wildlife, either they die from exhaustion, or the celestial gods deem them worthy and they become an ascended aspect. There is aspect of war, aspect of the sun, aspect of the moon, aspect of the twilight, aspect of the guardian, and so on. Simply said, after people reach the peak, they become some of the strongest beings on the entire planet. So of course, the mountain is full of people who worship the celestial demigods. And I speculate this is where we could get a lot of cool armor sets. There are the Solari, who are devoted to the aspect of the sun. Then there are their rivals, the Lunari, who are devoted to the aspect of the moon. But also, the tribe I assume will become a playable class, the Warriors of Rakor. Of course, besides just humans, Targon also has all sorts of furry Vastaya. Near the bottom of the mountain, you may notice that the mountain is alive. But also there are Stellarcorns, a variety of mind-bending creatures, and loads of dragons. Speaking of which, remember that this place is linked to the celestial realm. So this is where we may also meet the star-forging celestial dragon Aurelian Soul, as well as all sorts of other celestial beings. A lot of these would make for interesting bosses. In fact, the ascension of Mount Targon would be a really cool raid. Next, on the other side of Shurima, there is Ixtal. This is a special place where people are mastering the elemental magic.
Okay, before he gets into this one, I just want to say every region has like the coolest designs for all the fauna, the flora, the mobs, the armor sets, just the buildings, like the landscape. It's actually just mind blowing. Yeah, like honestly, I want to say so much about so much of this. I guess I'll try to remember at the end.
Yeah.
But all these regions are just mind blowing.
Yeah, like just everything so far is so well thought out, like to the extreme.
You mean with the world and stuff, or
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, and all the aspects that you mentioned.
Yeah.
They are using it for everything. Fishing, smithing, walking, and this place is definitely gonna be saved for an expansion. Basically, remember when Icathian asked the Watchers for help? And then that happened? Ixtal was their neighbor, and after they saw the Void devour an entire kingdom, They believed the void would soon devour the entire world.
Kiana.
So,
Kiana.
using their elemental magic, Ixtal built massive walls of plants around their entire region, isolating themselves from the rest of the world. For 3,500 years, Ixtal stayed isolated, believing that the world outside of their walls was devoured by the void. But now, very recently, some mages found out that the world outside is completely fine. So now, the Ixtali mages are slowly revealing themselves. To be honest, Ixtal is the most underdeveloped region in Runeterra. We know the region has a lot of hunting Vastaya, deadly plants, and some elemental dragons.
My dudes from Ixtal? Bro, I'm done. That's my region. Forget Shurima. Oh my god, Rengar, let's go, baby! Alright.
But most of the region is still a mystery to us. So at least here, Riot will have the freedom to try something new. But now, we leave the main continent to visit the last two regions. First of all, there is Bilgewater. If you like pirate adventures, this is gonna be your place.
Love pirates.
This is where we are going to explore inns and gambling dens, even some local temples worshipping the god of motion, Nagake Boros. Here we are going to fight pirates and sea monsters, sea witches, sea Vastaya, maybe some demons.
Sound
And
good.
possibly we'll side with Sarah Fortune to
Gangplank.
fight the king of the pirates, Gangplank. But there's a lot more here. Last year, Riot released their RPG, which was set in Bilgewater. So not only can we already explore this place in detail, but it even has a monster journal. And at a quick glance, you can already see some really cool bosses too.
Wow.
However, this place is also linked to the last place I want to show you today, the Shadow Isles. See, every year the horrors of the Shadow Isles lurk out, and Bilgewater just happens to be the closest place. So every year, Bilgewater is fighting the undead. Once upon a time, the Shadow Isles used to be the Blessed Isles, a rich place full of advanced magic. Long story short, there was a young asshole king who wanted to revive his dead queen, and in the process he accidentally released dark necromantic magic. This magic destroyed the island and made it home for undeath.
Dude even looks like a loser in life. Honestly, I'm so glad she stabbed him in the chest. Drive it deeper, girl.
In the lore, this event is called the Ruination, and because the RPG is called the Ruined King, it may not be a surprise to you that you also get to explore the Shadow Isles there. And there they have anything you can imagine. Undead horrors creeping everywhere. And should we ever venture into these islands, I have no idea whom we're going to fight. The Ruined King who caused all of this is banished elsewhere. Thresh, who siphoned his magic after he was banished, also left the Isles. And even Hecarim, the most brutal soldier of them all, is currently around Demacia. So the Shadow Isles don't currently have a main baddie. So this is where Riot could push forward some of the side characters. Now, even though these have all been the regions that are currently set up on Runeterra, Riot has already confirmed that there is a new continent further to the east. Currently, it is planned to be revealed in the upcoming Ruination novel. And so far, we know that this new continent is where the ruined King Viego is from. And this is also where he was banished at the end of his story. All we know about that place is that it is quite mystical. There are yet more dragons here, and in fact, Kamavor, which is the ruined King's nation, has a lot of draconic armor. So should Riot run out of places to explore, don't worry, they can always make up more. But that's all I wanted to show you today. As someone who's been following the lore of League of Legends from the very beginning, I can tell you, I'm very confident the setting of Riot's MMO is gonna be great. Their incredible writers have been preparing the world for years now. And now, it's time to harvest the fruit. If you like this video, let me know in the comments below. Because right now, I still have 3 more topics that I could talk about in regards to the MMO. I especially want to talk about the potential raid bosses we can face, and the potential classes we could play. And as someone who has collected an unholy amount of transmog, I would love to show you all the cool armor sets this universe has. But that's it for this video. See you in 6 to 8 years when the MMO gets released.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. That was really enjoyable. It just has Orin playing at the end. Okay, no, that was really cool. I don't know where to start, to be completely honest. There was a lot to discuss, I guess. I
Yeah.
just think overall, I just want to say all the regions are really cool. One of the things that I guess, maybe I'm not sure if disagree, but it's just sort of a different take for me. When he's talking about the world here, um, I feel like when it comes to continents, I know that World of Warcraft basically had two main continents when it started. Um, I guess it just depends on how big they actually are when you're in them, because I felt like there could be. I mean, if they do the WoW thing and truncate these regions when you're actually playing your character inside these regions, it could feel fairly small. So
Right.
it could feel like it's not enough. So hopefully, like I said, uh, these three main areas like Ionia, Shurima, and where Noxus and Demacia and Freljord are. I forget the name of the region already, but
Valorant.
right, not Valorant, Valorant. Yeah, I'm just like, hopefully they're big enough. That's all I can say, because you never know, right? Because like, I feel like I haven't really played any other MMOs as in depth as I had World of Warcraft, and it's been a big problem for World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Um, maybe it has to do with just corporate like development cycles not being long enough or whatever it is. But like, obviously when you're coming out for the game the first time, you never so I'm just gonna talk about World of Warcraft here for a second. They didn't have any scope they had to fit within. They were just like, I want to make this world. And when you think I want to make a world is fairly big and in depth, right? So, yes, OG Vanilla WoW made you feel it's so tiny. When
Yes.
you couldn't just fly across regions, and it took you like a half hour, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour to get from like Stranglethorn Vale back to your continent or whatever. I want that to feel like this. So from like
Yeah.
traveling from Freljord to, I don't know, Piltover and Zaun, or traveling from Demacia to Piltover and Zaun, I literally want that to take the first couple times like more than an hour.
Say a while.
Yeah, I want the travel to take more than an hour, and then eventually you unlock waypoints and stuff to make your travel easier. But
Yeah.
I feel like you should have to earn that, and
Yeah.
this is what makes the world feel big,
Yes.
right? I don't. Hopefully, it's just whether they're gonna have like flying mounts or not, whatever their travel system is gonna be. I just want the world to feel big, and whatever. I think it's a really good thing for, as Necrit's saying, for them to expand the continent to the right. I mean, if you look at this, it just makes kind of sense visually that they would
Yep.
expand to the right. It just kind of does, right?
Yeah.
Most of the left, not that they couldn't go left, but it just seems nice and filled out where the framing is, or like what we have on screen.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, digging into the regions we do have.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Again, I think I'm gonna be most excited about Ionia. I hope it's included originally, but if not, so be it. Um, honestly, I think the thing I'm most excited about is getting into the central cities of each location, because we saw some really, really cool architecture, and buildings, and like just the way some of them are like a maze, um, built within each one. I think those are gonna be like super exciting to explore. And also when we got to see Piltover and Zaun, it's like that really put the height of Zaun in perspective. Like it's deep.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's quite deep. Speaking about unique zones, you reminded me. I wanted to bring up this one of Ixtal. I thought it was so cool how the city is basically like, it's just like a twist a Rubik's cube or whatever. You know what I mean? It's
Like
just
like a 3D puzzle thing.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's so cool the way they designed that with like these. I'm just gonna bring my mouse up on the screen, or you can see my mouse is these arcs that
Yes.
allow buildings to be behind them, or allow like trees to be behind them.
Yeah, I love
This architecture is so crazy.
I was gonna say I love how like we know that it's been shrouded for thousands of years, but it's very cool again to see like the overgrownness of the actual building.
Yeah, I guess so. That's not really
Or,
what
like,
I was saying.
areas.
Yeah, that's not
No,
really what I was saying at all. But
No, not saying you were. Just I'm adding it.
yeah, I wouldn't call it overgrownness, right? That you're talking about on the outside, but I don't think like these trees or anything that they just like let it overgrow in their city. I feel like those are like they look like they're nice, properly prim pruned trees. It
In
doesn't
this
look like
area.
it's overgrown. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm looking,
The
and
out-
then the smaller areas underneath. Yeah, they are like segregated there,
they're
but
proper. If you're talking about the outside, then sure I agree with that. But no, that's not that's not saying that for the inside of the city at all. But yeah, some of the other cities were absolutely cool. Like we got to take a look at, um, and you know what? When he was bringing up like specific heroes from the regions, that was just really cool.
Yes.
Um, the raid bosses, when it comes to like raid bosses and stuff, I don't know how much they're gonna dig into actually using actual champions from the game, and because I don't play League of Legends or I don't really play any of the Riot franchises before, I'm probably gonna play the MMO. At least I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, hopefully they, I wouldn't be bothered if they kind of pull away from the actual champions and stuff like that, and just introduce characters that are exclusive to the MMO world that have nothing to do with League of Legends or have nothing to do with Arcane or anything else like that. Because I feel like at a certain point, even though they do have a lot of champions, how many are relevant to an MMO? You know what I'm saying? How many you're actually going to run into? How many can be main raid bosses, or how many qualify to be raid bosses, or how many qualify to just be random NPCs that you run through that are significant throughout your questing journey?
Right.
And then there's going to be a bunch that just don't fit anywhere.
Yeah, that's
So
fair.
yeah, so of the 150 or 170 plus champions that there are, how
Yeah.
many can we actually use? And I feel like if they stick to that, you might run into a problem eventually where you get stuck, right? Because you've already used them in the story. And I don't want them to run into a situation where they have to retcon stuff like World of Warcraft because of terrible writing, right? They have great writers. So does the WoW team. But
Yeah.
something happened over at Blizzard that really messed things up. So hopefully that doesn't happen here. So that's why I would like, for example, for the Shadow Isles, it'd be cool. Thresh is off somewhere. Viego's off somewhere. The warrior dude, I forget his name, was off somewhere.
Yeah.
The centaur looking guy. So to bring in some heroes that they could just make up out of thin air
Yeah.
would be sick, or some threats that they could just kind of make up out of thin air that fit within the region.
Yeah. I'm like a champion, but I'm like Yorick should be over there. She'd be the only person over there.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm just, he might be a character like in my mind, he might be a character that doesn't really fit anything, or he could be like your guide to like that area or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
But I just don't know what other usefulness he could have. It'd be like, hi, hi Yorick, you're my guide. Okay, go dig some graves now. Bye, buddy. I'm gonna go find some loot. Absolutely fantastic, honestly.
Yeah, I'm so blown away. Like I can't wait. I just want it now.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool champions that we could go over, but I feel like we'd be here for another hour just looking at everything.
Honestly,
From
yeah.
The Watchers was new for us to learn about. I mean, we may have come across them before, but I can't remember. So the Watchers was cool.
Yeah.
That whole deal with Lysandra holding them back, and then you got I thought the Watchers were going to be exclusive to Freljord, but no, they're down in Ixtal too.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah,
they're down
exactly.
there. So, they're part of the story, or their part of lore is going to be very interesting to find out. Like they seem like a big threat.
Yeah.
That still has a lot of their story to be written, or has a lot of their story to be explored. And I feel like the MMO is the perfect bed for that, right?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like every region has such potential.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna all be so jam packed with the storyline and quests that you could do and stuff like that. Like there's so many possibilities.
Yeah, there's so many because there's so many different regions. It's not like World of Warcraft that added in races over time. There's already so many different regions here with races already built into the world. So when it comes to like character creation, and even like when it comes to like item sets and stuff like that, they
Yeah.
better have a massive team working on that,
Oh
because
gosh, yeah.
it's not just like when WoW came out. You're making armor sets for 4 alliance races and 4 horde races and stuff like that. They have
Yeah.
I don't even know how many in this, 7, 8, 9, 10, like. You
A
know what I mean?
lot.
Like a lot, like probably more than 10. So how many are they going to make playable? Which I feel like it'll definitely be somewhere around the 5, 6 races mark playable. That's my guess, because I feel like anything more than that off the hop is going to be maybe too convoluted and maybe too
Yeah.
difficult to balance and maybe introduce too many problems. But who knows? They may blow my mind, because technology nowadays and the stuff they're able to do and the size of the team they made. I mean, like they made a whole animation team surrounding Arcane,
Yes.
right? Based off like starting with like 5 people or something like that, or like Christian and the writer and like whatever.
They're
It was
just
not
like-
many people.
Yeah,
So.
they're just like, don't you worry, we got this.
No, I am worried. I don't trust any gaming company nowadays. So I'm definitely worried. It's got great potential, but that doesn't mean anything. Cyberpunk had great potential too, and
Yep, that's fair.
right?
That's totally fair.
There's my point right there. I'm gonna leave it at that. This was amazing. Thank you guys so much for showing this to us.
Yeah, I am so glad that we finally knocked this one off the list.
yeah. I don't really have anything more to say about this one. I just can't wait to watch the next one because Necrit was a great guide to
Yeah.
kind of walk us through this.
Yeah, this was super insightful.
Absolutely. I'm definitely gonna be watching this again and like just picking out like my favorite armors, my favorite heroes, my favorite moments.
Yeah.
My favorite like pieces of art that I hadn't seen before. Like there were so many moments. There's so many moments I just want to like blurt out and be like yes, but like he was talking, so I didn't want to talk over.
Yeah,
Right?
same.
But, like top tier.
I feel like every time I'm just like, Ionia is my place, and then I think about the Freljord and everything that goes with that, and then I'm like, oh, but Shurima, and I'm like, I'm so torn between so many different areas.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. Like, I was all looking forward to Shurima, and then like they said Ixtal, which was not on my radar at all, and they showed Rengar, and I'm like,
yeah, I was gonna say,
I was like, dude.
Yeah, Ixtal was not on my radar either, and it's like we know of it, but like I guess I just didn't think of it right.
No,
away,
it wasn't
right?
on my radar to hate on because I was like, stupid Kiana, you and your stupid, family and stupid sisters and stupid attitude.
But Nico,
is she from there?
Nico's from there.
Well, she's hiding somewhere in the bush.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, this is top tier for us. We absolutely enjoyed it. You'll have to let us know what you guys enjoyed most about this, what you're looking forward to the most, which race you want to play, what raid boss you're looking forward to the most, what zone is going to be your favorite, and what you hope is in the base game, what you're looking forward to in expansions, and Viego's region off to the east. If you're looking forward to anything about that, and even drop what video you think we should watch next, considering the whole world of Riot's MMO, whatever they're going to call the game.
Yeah.
And if anybody has any insight as to what they're going to call the game, has that been leaked yet anywhere? It's just Riot's MMO. But yeah, I think that's it. I think that wraps it up for us. As always, please like, share, and especially subscribe if you've been looking forward to this for a while and you want to continue this journey into Necrit's videos with us.
Yes.
Because we absolutely enjoyed this.
Yes.
All right. As always, please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. All right.
Bye.
Bye.